Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Speedbreaker, and today I've got some nice little tips and tricks on how to become better at Battlefield 3. Now, before I start right into it, I'd like to mention something, and that is Battlefield 3 has a pretty big and steep learning curve, and if you really want to become good at Battlefield 3, you gotta practice a lot. And what I mean by that is, don't expect to be good after only having played a couple of hours. And even if you have played like 100 hours of Battlefield 3, you're probably not gonna kick everybody else's ass. I mean, I have played the game for over 700 hours, and I'm still learning stuff, I'm still improving my accuracy, and sometimes it's still bleh. So just don't let this discourage you. It's a lot of fun, and the process, once you really reach the end of the process, it's great. And you can just join any server and you pretty much rack up kills, and you're pretty much always on top of the score, but that is just a great feeling. So I think it's really worth it to try to improve your accuracy. Now, my first tip on improving your accuracy is try to stick to your favorite weapons. Try to find out which kind of weapons you really like, which kind of recoil pattern you can master, and really try to become superior with those weapons. So if you're new to Battlefield 3, I'm going to be listing some of the weapons I would recommend you to use. Now, for the Assault class, I have the F2000, the AUG A3, or the L85A2. Now, there is no M16, M416, or AEK in this list. And that is for a simple reason. I don't think that you should be using those easier guns all that often, because I think when you really try to become better at your accuracy, at your aiming, you should use some of the harder weapons, some of the weapons that you have to play more smart, some of them that you can't just run in there and you're always safe because you have like the easy weapon where you can just point at somebody, click, and they drop. So you should really try to use some of the other weapons and try to become superior with them, because I think, my opinion is, when you mastered any other weapon than the M16 and you're gonna then switch over to the M16, you are gonna kick ass. And I think you can become even better with the M16 without even playing it. That is just my 5 cents, of course. If you want to use them, go ahead, it's your game, you bought it, you can do whatever you want. That is just what I think works the best. Now, for the Engineer class, I'd recommend you using the SG553, the G53, or the ACWR. Those guns are all very nice and accurate, and I think you can become really good and pinpoint with them. Now, for the Support class, I chose the M27 IAR, being my favorite weapon, the RPK-74M, and the L86A2. Those guns are all pretty equal, they're pretty good, they have big magazine counts, and you can really dish out a lot of damage with them. Now, as far as attachment goes, always try to use the heavy barrel and the foregrip. There's actually no weapon that doesn't benefit of this combination, and unless you're going all up close quarters, TDM style, where you might want to use the laser sight for the improved hipfire accuracy, you want to be using heavy barrel and foregrip, just because the heavy barrel makes your aim down sights accuracy greater, and the foregrip reduces side-to-side recoil. And when you want to improve your accuracy, that's probably the combination you want to run with. Now, as far as sights go, there are pretty much 4 different sights you might want to use. Now, the first 2 sights you see here is the Cobra sight to the left and the Reflex sight to the right. Those are both red dot sights, and their zoom amount is pretty much the same as it would be whilst using iron sights. I do not recommend you using the iron sights simply because you can lose track of your targets pretty easily, which is not the case with those sights. Now, those 2 sights here are the holo sights. The one to the left is the holographic, and the one to the right is the PKAS. And I'd recommend using the holographic sight over the PKAS simply because the PKAS one has so much metal around it, and you are probably gonna be losing your target a lot when they are moving. Now, if you're using a holographic sight, be aware that the holo sight have a different amount of zoom than the red dot and the iron sights. So if you really want to improve your aim, here's another tip: don't switch between holographic and red dot sights. Try to stick to one sort of sight for pretty much all of the guns, because it will mess up your aiming and your sensitivity and everything if you switch between those sights. Now, let's go over some of the basic tips and tricks on how to improve your aim. First of all, we have the very close quarters ranges, and at these ranges you probably just want to hip fire the shit out of your enemy. You don't really want to be aiming down sides, because if you aim down side and the enemy is running past you, you're probably gonna lose track of him and he's just gonna knife you or shoot you in the back, and that is all things you don't want to have, so you just want to hip fire at very close ranges. Most of the gun have enough decent hip fire accuracy that you can actually do that. Now, on these very close quarters ranges, there's not a lot of tips I can give you regarding how to improve your aim. If you're going to be running only these distances, like close quarters maps and stuff like that, you want to be running with the laser sight instead of the heavy barrel most of the time, because, yeah, it gives you the great hipfire accuracy. But other than that, I don't really have any tips for those ranges. Now, going over to close range encounters, and at these kind of ranges you really want to be aiming down sights. Try to get your reticle on an enemy and then aiming down sight and shoot the fuck out of him. Try not to go for the headshot first, try to actually aim for his upper chest, and if the gun kicks back a little bit, you're probably gonna land some headshots. Also pretty important at these kind of ranges is trying to be pretty quick on switching to your secondary gun, because it can happen pretty fast that you're running out of ammo, and if you don't have a convenient button as designated for your toggle primary secondary weapon, you're probably gonna be screwed. So try to incorporate that into your workflow. Now, coming over to medium ranges, and these are probably the most frequent ranges you're gonna encounter in Battlefield 3. There's pretty much any game mode, any map has a lot of these medium range encounters. Now, if you really can master those kind of ranges, you are gonna be superior on the battlefield. You're gonna land on top of the scoreboard. Now, as far as tips for these ranges go, I have quite a lot. First of all, play a lot of Team Deathmatch. Try to play some of the Team Deathmatch maps that have a lot of medium range encounters. And that are, for example, Karg Island, Armored Shield, Sabal and Pipeline, and Tala Market. They have a lot of these medium range encounters. I don't think that Nosher Canals is too great, because in the middle it's just a huge clusterfuck and all close, very close ranges, and then around it it's pretty much long range encounters. And there's not really a lot of those medium range encounters that you have a lot in other game modes and other game types, maps. So really, that's kind of the maps I'd recommend you playing. Now, another tip I can give you is try to use some of the burst fire weapons, since at these ranges you don't want to be just dropping the hammer and pulling the trigger and just spamming it. Since your accuracy is going all over the place, you want to be trying to use burst firing. I don't mean the burst fire mode on the automatics weapons. Try to tap fire the weapon if it's automatic, or you can of course just use some of the burst fire weapons such as the KH-2002 or the AN-94. Now, also true for these ranges is not to try to go for the head first. Try to go for the upper chest and let the weapon work its way up to the head. Because the head is only giving you 50% damage each shot with any assault rifle up close, and at these ranges it's probably even less, around 40%. So you actually need 3 shots in the head to drop an enemy, and you don't want to have that. You want to actually go for the chest and burst fire into the chest. You're probably gonna get some headshots, but that is just because the weapon kicks back a bit. Now, another tip I can give you is try to use some of the shotguns like the Spaz 12 or the 870 MCS with slugs, because you always have to hit with the slugs. You only have like one chance, and you're really improving your aim a lot if you play a lot with the slugs. That's at least what I think. Now, another tip I can give you is try to play some Scavenger. I think it's a great mode to improve your accuracy and also your situational awareness of where the enemy's at and where you have to stand and how to play. You always have to play a little bit smarter because you have low ammo counts and stuff. And of course you have your secondary, your weapon, which I would recommend using the Magnum or the Rex, because those weapons have just great accuracy and you can really try to train your accuracy with those a lot. Now, pretty much as a last resort, if all those tips didn't help you out a lot, is you could try to go on an empty server and try to practice on some walls, some poles, pretty much anything you can imagine. Just shoot at it and try to be accurate, and as accurate as possible. Now, in this clip, you see me firing the AUG A3. The first time I was just pulling down the trigger, and I wasn't actually trying to counter the recoil, and sorry for the tank that just exploded. Oh my god. So the second time I tried to counter the recoil, I was doing pretty big bursts, around 5 bursts. You probably at these ranges don't want to be bursting as much. And just look how far down I pulled. That's the amount of recoil that I have to counter for. And I'm gonna be doing it again just to show you the amount of recoil I have to counter yet again, about a third of the screen, a fourth of the screen down. Now I'm going to be trying to do some a little bit shorter bursts, around 3 bursts, 4 bursts firing, and as you can see, it's way more accurate. I didn't really try to count for the recoil in this one. I'm going to be countering for the recoil here, and here I did pretty small bursts. It was almost one single burst firing, and as you can see, it's darn accurate. The last one was just spot on, while the first was just all over the place. And these are all the same ranges, so that is pretty impressive how good you can improve your accuracy by just firing the gun correctly. Now, on these short ranges, of course, you can just pretty much drop the hammer and shoot down at people, because it doesn't really make any difference since they are so close to you, and the spread is just not gonna affect your firing all that much. Now, one other thing I'd like to mention here is try not to move around all too much. I do that all the time. I'm like right, left, down, up. And if you want to be real accurate, you don't want to be moving all too much. Of course, if the enemy's already firing at you, you want to do some sort of dance, because you want to avoid the bullets. But overall, it's easier to pretty much just try to stand still, as you can see me doing in these clips. Now, going over to very long range encounters, and this sniper right here, I just saw him there with the glint of his stupid sniper scope, and I knew I hit him like four or five times, so I went back out there, and here's the kill. So you can actually be darn damn accurate with assault rifles. You can kill people at very long ranges, and on these long ranges, you actually want to be single firing. You don't want to be burst firing anymore. Of course, you can burst fire a little bit, but that just pretty much suppresses the enemy, because you're probably not going to hit him at all. But really, when he's so far away, you want to be single firing. Also, pretty easy is when the enemy is prone or yeah, behind a rock or something like that. You can easily just go for the head. Other than that, you might want to just go for the body, because it's kind of hard to aim for the head on very long ranges. So that were pretty much all the tips I have for improving your aim. Try to practice as much as you can, and really try to use some of the other weapons. Try to mix it up a little bit. Try to become good at pretty much any weapon. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a like, a comment, and upvote on Reddit, as it helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching. Have a good one, and until next time, ciao.